Greetings and welcome to the second part of the mystery of Mazzaroth. Here we have the Mazzaroth Defined. The zodiac itself is not in and of itself the Mazzaroth, but rather there are 12 threshold control points, one associated with each zodiacal sign that the Brotherhood of Light can use to modulate and govern consciousness factors in the worlds that fall under the auspices of the 12 signs of the zodiac. This is done to help those worlds in their evolutionary process and return to source. Now I'm going to pause here because in a recent channeling, I received and wrote about and posted about the Agi, the solar Agi cycles, and how these cycles are in place for periods of time around the Earth. I say around, but it's not a space-time thing, but I'm using that word. And all of humanity really can't go past that envelope until the envelope is changed. And when the cycle is changed, the envelope is moved up, then you can move up to that point. That sounds rather restricting, but as I explained, there are many factors involved with this, but it has to do with galactic center of this galaxy. And that's what defines these envelopes, and then each world further defines those envelopes. So it's really part of our whole decision-making collective experience in how we deal with these energies and intelligences. And the reason I'm mentioning it here is because I see, and I might state again that this is the first time I've read this in many, many years. I can see here that it's sort of touching in on that when it says the Brotherhood of Light can use to modulate and govern consciousness factors in the worlds that fall under the auspices of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So I'm feeling here there's a connection between this and the creation of the Agi envelope. Now, in a way, it is a natural event, these cycles, but they are modulated by very high beings. I don't even know if being is the right word. Brotherhood of Light has been used, in other terms to express some kind of intelligence coming out of the font of the Godhead that modulates it for our benefit. And if they were not modulating it, it would be in chaos, because we have all this divergent energy, and if several souls move really, really forward and the others don't, it almost creates a vacuum in that space. It's difficult to explain, but we're all in this together. We really are all in this together. Like Bernie Sanders had said, we're all in this together. And we can go a little faster, a little slower. We have this part, you have that, I have this part, you have that part. But basically speaking, as a planetary whole, we are all in this together. And so we have consensually allowed this envelope experience to be created and to be modulated by those who are our, connective nodes in the higher realms. So I think that's what it's kind of referring to there. At least it's a connective tissue to that. There are 12 cycles of evolution for any planetary world under the influences of the Mazzarothic thresholds. There is an alpha beginning and omega end to the overall evolutionary trajectory for that world. These control points are set into the evolutionary divine plan for planetary worlds within the archetypal light imaging programmed into the 12 threshold control points of the Mazzaroth. The worlds of Mazzaroth exist within the lower heavens, the regions of the known zodiac. There are many higher light worlds which exist beyond the confines of the Mazzaroth, in what Thoth refers to as the Mazzaloth. There are many master beings working in behalf of the evolution of planet Earth under the hierarchical directives from even higher stations of light within the realm of the Mazzaloth. They serve as sentient connection between the worlds of the higher heavens and the worlds of the lower heavens. According to Thoth, Earth's planetary consciousness currently falls into the lower heavens regions and will be transported to experience within the higher heavens during the ascension of this planet. Now, I've been debating about where the neutral universe or the atosic universe fits into this picture. And I might have even said, I thought in the last video or two, that it might be, the Mazzaroth might be that atosic universe. But now I'm receiving very strongly, the hand on my shoulder, so to speak, that the Mazzaroth is not the atosic universe. It is a higher heaven experience, a dimensional shifting experience within our universal spectrum. But it is where the world system 2s abide, and perhaps even 3s and 4s. I don't know if there are such things. But, you know, it's really kind of hard to divide up a cookie that was really baked all at one place and one point in experience, because there's no timelines in it, you know? It's really hard to say, well, this happened and this, and well, that's over there and this is over here. Because when you get right down to it, when you talk about these higher concepts, you know, they're also united. There's also in one frequency. It's really hard to try to divide it. And the only reason I'm trying is to give us some apprehension of the experience, because we are still in linear consciousness. No matter how much we'd like to not be, we are. And it's necessary for us to be at this time. So, that said, let's move along here. Okay, where was I? Thoth gives us a further definition of both Mazzaroth and Mazzaroth. Thoth, let me get this right. The Mazzaroth is the pattern of integrity which circumscribes the path of karmic resolution within the current geometric vehicle of the Earth's Merkaba. I'm laughing because, okay, it's not that easy to understand. Let's try it again. The Mazzaroth is the pattern of integrity which circumscribes the path of karmic resolution within the current geometric vehicle of the Earth's Merkaba. The Mazzaroth is the unfolding of star fields into greater and greater thresholds of divine formation within this universe, which is accomplished through key manifolds maintained within the stars of the visible spectrum. Mazzaroth is the cosmic vehicle to transcend the dark space, while Mazzaroth is the light foundation of the greater universe. Yes, it's the vehicle. So that's why I kept trying to pinpoint as being maybe the atosic universe. But the atosic is the neutral universe. It's a neutral point. What the Mazzaroth is doing is unfolding universes of experience of our universe toward that threshold. So it's an interconnective springboard, so to speak. It's like you go as far as you can in this universal experience, and you break through into this Mazzarothic realm that's still us, that's still our universe, but it's connected to the atosic in a way that ours is not. That's kind of as close as I can come right now to saying it. So let us continue. We are currently being called upon to prepare ourselves to receive the greater mantle of Christic consciousness through the efforts of the many beings who are assisting us from a higher evolutionary perspective. It is this greater spiritual power which is the key to being able to freely come and go from this dimension of reality for the greater work at hand, and ultimately for the ascension. The actual passage to and from this dimension is accomplished through application of this greater power to open the 12 time gates or thrones held within the 12 zodiacal signs of the zodiac, and this is accomplished from the grids of energy that are even higher dimensional experience than that of the Mazzaroth, than that of the Mazzaroth, which is the Mazzaroth. Okay, Mazzaroth 12, Mazzaroth 13. Mazzaroth lower heavens, Mazzaroth, I think Thoth called it mid-heavens, so there must be something higher. In any case, that's the format. Now, I received something the other day that I haven't even had a chance to write up yet or talk about. But I'm going to just bring it in just a little tiny bit here because it really falls in line with this. I was shown by Thoth Intelligence that us now, in our current reality time frame spectrum, are going to start opening up to receiving the Mazzarothic patterns of the 13th high heaven, or mid heaven, or whatever it is. Because, so each one of us, like, let's say I'm a Pisces, okay? So maybe that's my sun sign. So maybe in the 13th, I would be something else, X, Y, Z, whatever, you know? And so my 12 is starting to start merging with the 13, and it's going to open up that portal so I could say, well, I'm a Pisces sun in the Mazzaroth, but in the Mazzaroth, I am Tata. And that means, or the energies of that, the keynote energies are Tata. And so that is going to start blending or merging or maybe even scooting, replacing in some instances what my 12 is. So in that way, we're not being held back as far as we may think by this envelope, because the envelope, even though it hasn't switched its cycle yet, it has the potential now to dip into something beyond the envelope. And the reason for that is the three Akka chords, I'm going to start calling them. I don't think I called them that in the original videos because I didn't think about it. But the three Akka chords of the cosmic streams that came to us in May 29th of 2016 have opened us up to receive pure mother's milk from the mother universe, our mother universe, the Nutra or Atosic universe. So, that said, we are receiving from mother's milk the potential to, not only potential, but we are receiving our 13th vibration coming through. And it's going to be more and more profound as time goes on, and individuals will receive it differently. Some will block it, some won't, some will receive a little of it, some will receive a lot, depending upon the individual and what they choose to do with it on unconscious and conscious levels. So I think that's pretty exciting, and I'll probably be writing about it a little more. But I wanted to state that here because it's talking about, the actual passage to and from this dimension is accomplished through application of this greater power to open the 12 time gates or thrones held within the 12 signs of the zodiac, and this accomplished from the grids of energy that they are even in higher dimensional experience than that of the Mazzaroth, which is the Mazzaroth. So that's really kind of indicating what I received just the other day. There is a direct correlation between the human, earthen, and stellar body programs, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 main meridians within the earth, and the human body are key focal points for the higher beings of light to bring all these components into a true alignment in order that the ascension may occur. It is directly through the 12 crystalline channels of the earth that the human being can be reprogrammed via the higher and yet intermediary energy systems of the Mazzaroth to be able to assimilate the energy and consciousness changes taking place on earth so that the human species can continue to evolve with the higher programs of light rather than perish. This is a direct act of grace and compassion towards humanity on the part of the higher light, beings of light. Now, for those of you who may have missed it, this was written in 1997. I received this transmission in 1997. So, I'm sure a lot more could be said as to where we actually are now in this program. Even before the ascension of planet Earth, there will be children born who are already under the influence of the next major evolutionary cycle, the Mazzaroth. They will become a powerful transformative force unto themselves as they pour forth the benefit of their spiritual gifts upon humanity straight from the Father's kingdom. These children will be harbingers of the Christ, which will incarnate into every soul who has adequately spiritually prepared itself, and they will be especially helpful in reactivating the dormant seed, that latent set of codes within humanity's DNA memory, which holds the original patterns of light as their highest service to this world. Well, now let's do the math. 1997, this is 2016, so that's 16, I'm not good at math, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 16, 17, 18. If they were born in 1997, okay, they'd all be 18 years old now. Of course, they're not going to all be born then, and probably some were already being born, or maybe having been born by the time this was stated, because often when I receive it in that tense, there will be children born, it's speaking on a real universal level, and maybe it's already happened 2, 3 years, 4 years before that they've started being born. I know we had the indigos even further back, and a lot of beautiful special children coming in. But he's talking about a specific focus that these particular kids will have, and he didn't give them a name, So I know we have these wonderful millennials now. They're a little older than that, and they're coming out of the indigos and the crystals and all these that were born previously. But now we also have these newer ones coming through, and so this is getting really exciting. The power of the higher evolutionary worlds is such that a variety of species forms can be generated biochemically through some very high meta-scientific principles, but that so long as these species forms are aligned to the divine matrix or cosmic Christ, there exists a transcendence of the differences in forms and appearances through the unity that exists in God's greater kingdom. Now, that's not easy to understand, let me tell you, because I don't understand it in the moment. I kind of do, but not quite. So let's read on, and before we try to go back and figure it out. By the way, all this cosmic Christ and Christ, this is not speaking religiously, not dogmatically, not Christian religion. This is talking about a much higher frequency of energy, abides in all humanity, and you don't have to believe in Jesus and all of that to get it. You can, but you don't have to. There is a direct correlation between the greater template the Mazzaroth represents and the redevelopment of the 12-strand DNA. Thoth tells us that the etheric counterpart for the 12-strand DNA will form, then the physical components will begin formation, and then finally humanity will begin to assimilate the consciousness it represents. Once this program is complete, the souls who have been part of this greater process through the proper spiritual preparation will be able to move into the more complex consciousness expression of the higher worlds of the Mazzaroth. Now, bear in mind that through paragenetics, even oldies like me can receive, I'm not saying I have, I don't think so, but I could receive the strands beyond the 12. They could start forming in my body. They could start forming in anybody's body, in other words. You don't have to be born again to do it. It can come through people already alive now. It's a little more difficult, mind you, but it can happen and is happening, I do believe. In fact, I have seen some videos lately, and I haven't validated them with Thoth or anything, but saying that there are children being born now with more than 12 strands, or with being born with 12 strands, of DNA. So it's happening. The tribe of Judah, and consequently the sign of Leo, the lion, hold a key dynamic in the ascension of planet Earth. In the Keys of Enoch, the Book of Knowledge by J.J. Hertog, on page 231, there is a listing of the 12 tribes of Israel. Alongside this listing are given 3 numeric figures. 1, the numeric given as in the scroll of Numbers, in the Bible, which correlates to that tribe, the population allotted to that tribe's army, the angle it represents in the 360-degree expanse of the heavens, the angle geometric sine function, the mathematical of calculations involving the correlations between the Book of Numbers and the angles within the tribes and the Great Pyramid are fairly well known within the work of pyramidologists. The tribe of Judah has an angle calculated at 44.496727769 degrees. Two things are quite correlative here. One, Thoth told us that the 4444 Stargate is the Stargate of Ascension, and the 44 is very close indeed to the numeric angle of Judah calculated from the numbers given in the Bible. Two, if one numerologically reduces the full number given, and I'm not going to say that out, but plus, you arrive at 58, which further reduces to 13. The number 13 is that of Mazzaroth, and by default, the Christic consciousness as well. Thoth also revealed to us that in the past, that the constellation of Leo is the access portal to the golden star of Mazzaroth, which is not visible in our dimension of reality. Mazzaroth is the threshold for the future consciousness of the earth, which hails from the Mazzaroth, all of which again resonates to 13. Okay, now here we get to a mind bender again. I'm being told that the Atosic universe, where the star of Mazzaroth is supposed to be, is not really the Mazzaroth. It is totally, well, I don't know what to call it. It's there. It is like the center resonance. The Mazzaroth is somehow like going around it. Okay, let me try to picture it this way. You've got a donut, and you've got a little ball in the center of the donut. Well, the ball in the center of the donut is the Atosic universe, the neutral universe, whatever you want to call it. The circle around it is the Mazzaroth. So that's the best way to picture it. And we are, let's say, a foundation, a square, sacred square, the sacred square foundation that sits just below it, that all of this is sitting atop of. I might be able to bring through a better picture later, but right now that kind of puts it together. So the speed of light is rounded to as at 186,400 miles per second. What is being indicated here within the Bible is that the tribe of Judah, sign of Leo, is the key to accelerating consciousness to the speed of light, which in turn the flashpoint for Ascension Earth. Because the Bible says 9, the total number of the camp of Judah was 186,400 throughout their armies. They shall march first. That's what the Bible says according to the Lamsa Bible, which is the clearest one so far, I believe. Then the Lamsa Bible says in Genesis 49, 9, 10, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. You are gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion, and as a young lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until the coming of the one to whom the scepter belongs, the Messiah, to whom the Gentiles shall look forward. And so, these verses indicate Judah is an offspring, whelp of the lion. The tribe of Judah is born of the zodiacal sign of Leo and the inherent solar consciousness codes that are programmed into the Mazarothic throne. Judah shall maintain the scepter, the staff or mandate of spiritual law and power, until the coming of the Messiah. In other words, Judah holds the balance for the Mazarothic worlds until they have been liberated by the Christic deliverance from the defiled half-light codes of darkness. In addition, the lion symbology present in these verses, as you will remember, is correlative to the statue named the Guardian of Mazzaroth. Well, I didn't read that part. I skipped that part. We have to skip some things here. This would be really long. But A bit later in this article, we will see how this lion symbology, the constellation of Leo, and the mystery of Mazzaroth are intimately interconnected. It is important to understand that the 12 tribes of Israel each have a zodiacal correlative, and that the tribal component is the vibratory paragenetic genetic grid which corresponds to the equivalent zodiacal sign and facet of the Mazzaroth. In other words, relative to this article, the tribe of Judah, which represents love, praise, and heart, is a direct spiritual paragenetic projection of the spiritual consciousness patternings held within the template of the zodiacal constellation of Leo. The hierarchy of Leo, the lords of flame, are those divine angelic beings which are acting as midway stations of light for this aspect of the one God, the universal heart. They in turn project this consciousness patterning into the worlds of trapped light, such as Earth, that we may access this consciousness and integrate its codes into our DNA through acts of spiritual compassion and unconditional love, thus setting the light of the Christic consciousness free within ourselves, our hearts, our minds, and our souls. Wow, okay. Let's think of where the world is right now. All the chaos, all the killing, all the elite stuff being revealed in all its horror and misery and ugliness. Let's see the shining light workers that are coming forth, the millennials, Bernie Sanders, more and more. I could name more, but you know them. They're out there. And the movements, the peaceful yet forceful movements that are coming forth to take down, to dissolve, shall we say, rather than tear down, the old forms that have been holding us in place in a captive world since the Anunnaki. And think of that, and think of what is required as the key that turns in the lock, the very key that Bernie Sanders has been speaking of again and again and again in his campaign, and that is love and compassion. When you hurt, I hurt, he says. We're all in this together. So let me read that line again, or maybe more than one line. The hierarchy of Leo, the lords of flame, are those divine angelic beings which are acting as midway stations of light for this aspect of the one God, the universal heart. They in turn project this consciousness patterning into the worlds of trapped light, such as Earth, that we may access this consciousness and integrate its codes into our DNA through acts of spiritual compassion and unconditional love, thus setting the light of the Christic consciousness free within ourselves, our hearts, our minds, and our souls. So we can literally, those of us already born, can literally create more strands of DNA in our bodies by following the rules, the divine law of spiritual love and compassion. Now, I know everyone I'm speaking to here is doing that in their life. I'd like to say I'm doing it too. I believe that I am. I shouldn't use that word. I believe that I am. I am doing that. But we can all do it further. We can all go deeper, and we're being called to go deeper. And to really define in our heart of hearts, not in our mental minds, but in our heart of hearts, what compassion really is, what love really is. What have we missed? What can we go back and connect to that drives us deeper into that beautiful solvent elixir of Elixis Mundi? It all comes back to that. The Great Pyramid at Giza contains specific geometric and numeric encoding via its design measurements, which show the meta-scientific relationships between the 12 tribes of Israel and the Mazzaroth. The measurement proportions also represent the higher light mathematics involved in the unification of the 12 signs of the zodiac and their subsequent linkage to the greater cosmology of the higher worlds of the Mazzaroth. Thoth indicates that within the Great Pyramid is a chamber which he calls the midden chamber. He says the midden chamber is quite small, much smaller than the king's and queen's chamber. This chamber manifests an energy dynamic referred to as the chamber of the sun, S-O-N, in the Keys of Enoch by, the Book of Knowledge by J.J. Hertak. I believe this is a quote, and it is, the unification from the Book of Knowledge, the unification of the consciousness represented in the 12 signs of the zodiac and the subsequent linkage of that unified field consciousness to the higher worlds. Oh no, wait a minute, hold it. I'm sorry. The quote here is not from the Keys of Enoch. It is from a Thoth transcript that I wrote, and so that was confusing to me. I apologize. This is what it appears to be from Thoth through me. The unification of the consciousness represented in the 12 signs of the zodiac and the subsequent linkage of that unified consciousness to the higher worlds of Mazzaroth will occur when the tribe of Judah is astrophysically and vibrationally aligned with the Great Pyramid through the midden chamber. Judah actually represents a key geometric function, cosine, of the relationship between all the tribes or 12 zodiacal genetic paragenetic movements in the lesser heavens. There will be a specific There will be a specific astrophysical alignment at some point in the future, whereby the angles and geometry, and geometry of Judah will be aligned once again through the midden chamber in the Great Pyramid. The midden chamber works in resonance with the Eye of Horus, which also correlates to the recent sacred initiatic journey we discussed within this issue, in that it was named the Path of Horus and worked in and through the Eye of Horus as a portal through the Mazzaroth to access stellar coordinates of higher Christic consciousness. I have to say that aside from my eyesight and my dyslexia, just reading this out loud is quite, I do okay, and then I get to a point where it's just like, I just can't so speak anymore. But I will endeavor to continue. I'm actually getting better at it, I think. Okay, deep breath, and let us continue. When the final alignment occurs, it will result in a major and final alignment of the Earth's consciousness to that of the Christ, which hails from the Mazzaroth. Now, we are quoting from Isaiah 19 through 20, and it states, "In that day there shall be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar on the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be a sign, and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them." Unquote. Thoth indicates that both the altar and the pillar in the above passage are represented by the Great Pyramid as follows. And this is from Thoth. This corresponds to a specific twofold dynamic of the Great Pyramid. The altar function is the pyramid in its receptive dynamic, and which is seen to be in the midst of the land of Egypt. This particular function also signifies the esoteric wisdom encoded into that structure. The pillar function is the pole of germination, which transfers higher intelligence from the greater cosmos to the border thereof, i.e. the border of the altar in Egypt. The border representing the power of interface between heaven and earth, which is in this case essentially the outer structure of the pyramid, Great Pyramid, with the altar being contained within it. We can see this as an outer casing. If you have an electrical device or some kind of, high conducting device, the outer layer is going to be conductive to carry the current all the way around it. I know there must be a scientific term from that, but it goes into the device, but then the device sends it out to the outer membrane, and that's where the energy is resonating out from it. What Thoth is essentially saying here is that the outer structure of the Great Pyramid itself is the pillar, which is at the border of the altar. The altar is the esoteric knowledge which is encoded within the pyramid. Thus, it is prophesied by Isaiah 19:20 that when the midden chamber dynamic is triggered within the Great Pyramid by the greater stellar alignments to come, the consciousness of the cosmic Christ will pour through the veil or interface zone between heaven and earth, liberating the planetary consciousness from the limited half-light codes of the fallen hierarchy. Now, I don't know if it actually says this a little further on here, but I'm going to say it now. Better sooner than later. And that is that in the ascension process of the planet, as was given to me by Thoth, the Pyramid of Giza is the point, the vault of Osiris, underneath the Pyramid of Giza, completely underneath it somewhere. When the Starfire Kachina dance of Osiris begins, and this energetic dance comes out of the vault of Osiris and up through the pyramid. It will activate at some point, it will activate the actual final push-the-button ascension of the whole planetary schematic. And when it does, the light-encoded zones that leave this planet and move into the new Earth star, the land area and the pyramid itself will not be included. In other words, it's a booster rocket. Once it detonates, it is no more. I don't know if it just disappears, if it blows up. I honestly don't know at this point, but it is no more at that point. So it literally, that's what its final act for the whole planet is the trigger point for the planetary ascension. Now, we have a lot of marvelous pyramids we've found since the Pyramid of Giza, some larger, some of them even more impressive, even though they're covered under grass and stuff, and dirt and soil. They're there, and we can find them, and we know they're sending out these incredible beams and all of this, and they're all fantastic. And, the Pyramid of Giza is not even one of the three radius points in the Pyramidus radius, the three main ones. Of course, it's part of the whole Pyramidus radius, but it's not part of the three main. However, because it's very exclusive, it does a lot of things, but it's all focused and aimed toward this final resolution. That's its job. And it can hold positions and different things, but its focus is its focus. And its focus is to say, let's pull the trigger, and I'm going to, blast you off here. And that's what it does. But it can't do that, of course, until everything else comes into alignment and is ready for that procedure. Okay, to continue. Now we're quoting from Revelations 5:1-5 in the Lamsa Bible. And I saw on the right hand of him who sat on the throne a book written within and on the back and sealed with 7 seals. Then I saw a mighty angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof?" And no man in heaven above, nor on earth, neither under the earth, I like that because that's talking about the inner earth, was able to open the book, neither to look on it. And I wept exceedingly because no man was found worthy to open the book, nor to look on it. And one of the elders said to me, "Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Scion of David, has prevailed, and he will open the book and the 7 seals thereof." In verses 1-5, we have one of the most sacred inner mysteries revealed, that of the 7 seals and their relationship to a greater divine program of light redemption. Well, it should be I guess. What is being said here is that the eternal program, our scrolls of the Father, are projected in a reverse image into creation. Well, I really read that wrong. Let me try that again. What is being said here is that the eternal program, or scrolls of the Father, are projected in a reverse image into creation. The scrolls are themselves representative of the 7 seals of consciousness, the 7 rays, that have to be completed before this world may graduate and go on to higher levels of experience. These 7 levels of consciousness are correlative to the 7 chakras of the human body, the 7 chakras of the planet Earth, and the seals are placed between these fields of consciousness and the higher emanations of the 7 rays being projected from the stations of light under authority of the Godhead. According to Thoth, the 7 seals were placed by the Lord Metatron, El Shaddai, upon the 7 levels of consciousness, so that no human could penetrate the upper threshold through sheer lower willpower, the 666 dynamic. When the planetary consciousness has reached a certain level of Christic realization, only then will the seals be opened, allowing passage for the many children of God into the higher worlds of the Mazzaroth. So St. John saw this reality in his vision revealed in Revelation 5:4 and wept for the many basically good but lesser evolved souls who might be lost to the darker universal forces of entropy should the Earth's planetary consciousness not be elevated to a high enough degree whereby the 7 seals could be opened. So here we go back to this Agi solar shield. Now, it's had revolutions on the planet before, but very seldom. In fact, actually, I received the last one, allowed the Lotus reality to drop into our current Earth reality. That was it. So, in this current spectrum of the universe, it has not happened yet, that it's rolled over, you know? So when it does, this is what's going to happen. This is what it's talking about here with the ascension itself, the planetary ascension. I'm just now figuring that into the equation as I'm reading this. Here we have, the lion of the tribe of Judah is symbolic of the consciousness of the greater Christic solar logos. Aha, see here we are, the solar Agi, which will find its register upon the planetary consciousness through the portal Judah Leo holes in the 12 zodiacal. Let me try that again. The lion of the tribe of Judah is symbolic of the consciousness of the greater Christic solar logos, which will find its register upon the planetary consciousness through the portal Judah Leo holes in the 12 thrones of the Mazzaroth. Here we have an inferred reference to 2 solar logos of the earth in verse 5. We refer you to the article in this issue, Gate of the Sun, the solar logos and the lion, for a comprehensive discussion on the nature of the 2 solar logos themselves, which is important to the understanding of this article, but is outside the scope of it. Well, I did not read you that. Remember, all of this is in issue Temple Doors, Volume 497, and you can procure this through my Spirit Store, or if you're a Portal member, you can go right into the Vault of Thoth, and it will be in there for you. My purpose in reading these parts is to talk about it, to bring it up to date, to look at it from new eyes, from the eyes of, well, not new eyes, older eyes, but from the eyes of perspective that is new, of 2016, compared to when I brought it through in 1997, and of course it was given at that time for understanding of people in 1997. So I'm kind of working with certain parts of it that I feel are especially important to update it. But if you want the whole enchilada, you need to go to the issue itself. Outside the context of the 2 solar logos, verses 1-5 are telling us that the tribe of Judah holds the biological, geophysical, and higher intelligence codes necessary to the Christic infusion of the earth. The paragenetic codes represented in the tribe of Judah are being held and expressed by a grouping of beings both in the higher dimensions of reality and on earth. Any being that is able to hold that specific consciousness frequency to a high enough degree is by default one of the paragenetic keepers for the tribe of Judah. However, there are specific inner planes orders that are also commissioned to be keepers of these paragenetic codes. It is through these groupings of beings that a way is being prepared for the new teachings, the scrolls of higher light, to reach this world from the higher heavens. This new expression of light consciousness has already been seated within the old planetary realm in aeons long past. In other words, these higher consciousness codes were inherent in the creation in the first place, but we have become separated from them through the fall. Thoth tells us that the Earth's original consciousness patterning was formed within the blue star Rigel in Orion. It is only after certain cosmic events had transpired that the Earth's newly birthed consciousness was relocated to the current solar system we know as home. This was the beginning of the lesser solar paradigm, the astronomy of our physical sun, which now the tribe of Judah opens the path of exodus out of and back to the Earth's home in the stars within the Orion system as part of the blue star Rigel's nest of planets. Now remember, you can be from any star systems, your soul can have, and you've gone through a lot of star systems. It doesn't mean that you have to accept Orion as your savior. What I mean is, you can come from all these others. We're talking about this planet, and obviously if you're on this planet, you had a reason for being here, and you're seeing it through, but that doesn't encapsulate all of who you are. The lion will become a new archetypal symbol representative of the new patterning that the next or greater solar logos will embrace the earth within. So it is the Christ, the higher symbology of the lion, which ultimately will penetrate this old limited cosmology through the portal held by the tribe of Judah within the constellation of Leo to bring us into an expression of the collective messiahship, a manifestation of the Christ within. This means that for those souls who endeavor spiritually to prepare themselves in accordance with the higher teachings brought to this world by Jesus and the other masters, the Christ will be birthed within them, that they will emulate the spiritual consciousness that the Christ came to demonstrate as our ultimate heritage. Now, when it says to prepare themselves spiritually in accordance with, it does not mean you have to be a Christian, a Buddhist, a Hindu. It doesn't mean inside religions. You can be, but that's not what it's saying here. It's talking about the true spiritual principle consciousness that these religions have brought to us. They came out of the original master form of Yeshua, Buddha, whomever, The universe is made of numerous different possible reality systems that are all a part of the divine plan, the many mansions of the Father's kingdom. Once we have opened our hearts, minds, souls, and selves to the possibility that something much greater than we could ever have imagined exists, what we need to do then is truly understand and integrate the higher consciousness, which is the essence of that greater reality. This will in turn allow us to move beyond the current fractured time continuum we are currently encapsulated within, to be able to experience other time continuums of reality, to interact and commune with other beings of light, the angelics, the archangelics, the masters of light, who are not limited to one time continuum themselves, but are able to freely move amongst the various continuum or mansions of the greater kingdom. There is a biochemical change that must occur so that our physical bodies, which are the host to our souls and spirit, must receive new DNA coatings to be able to operate in this multidimensional state of existence while we are still physically embodied. As it stands now, we are held under the limitations of the lesser solar paradigm, which has been the primary threshold for the genetic programs on Earth for some time. We as divinity in human form still contain the dormant genetic codes which were once prevalent on this planet before the fall. As we begin to awaken our minds to the higher levels of awareness, we start to reactivate these dormant genetic codes, and as they activate, they begin to start a process of biochemical change or mutation within our bodies so that the physical form of our temple may be prepared to receive the second coming of the Christ within our own very hearts. The 12-fold genetic information inherent in the Mazzaroth is actually encoded into our physical forms and can thus be used to synchronize the greater mandates of spirit within the physical existence. The Mazzarothic thrones contain a significant portion of the divine blueprint for the ultimate expression of divinity in this type of a world system. And yet we must not only come to realization of that potential, we must go beyond that into the heart of the Christos, Mazzaroth, the cosmic Christ, the greater solar logos, the golden star of Mazzaroth. And actually, the golden star of Mazzaroth, is it in the Mazzaroth? Is it not in the Mazzaroth? It's actually on the threshold of the Mazzaroth. So it's in, technically, but it's in the threshold. Threshold is a unique place, kind of outside of everything else. The mental programming of humanity must be brought to a higher level of realization so that it can be given the astrophysical codes and keys which will allow man to move beyond the time continuum we are currently trapped within. These codes and keys are stellar in origin and encompass the realm of Mazzaroth and beyond. The Brotherhood of Light acts as a transduction medium between the reality of worlds within the mandates of the Mazzaroth and those higher stellar worlds of the Mazzaroth. In this way, they can assist these lesser worlds in completion of their evolutionary cycles. The Elohim creator beings play an important role in this transduction process. They are overseeing the transmission of these higher level stellar light codes into the Mazzarothic worlds. They monitor and adjust the incoming light transmissions so that the creation moves through its critical evolutionary threshold as rapidly and as smoothly as possible. Through the assistance of these beings and the angelics, it's possible for every soul who aligns themselves to the higher principle of grace to be reborn in spirit and to be embraced by the higher covenant. These greater beings are working to help free the souls of the earth from their stellar imprisonment. So great is their love for humanity that they have watched and waited throughout the history of earth for the time when they could once again reach us, their brothers and sisters of the stars, and help us to find our way back to the greater light of the Christ, through which we may be given a virgin birth, a karmic absolution, a dispensation of grace from the throne of the eternal directly. So now let us return, So now let us return to the concept of the guardian of Mazzaroth. We now have just emerged from quite a journey into the meaning of Mazzaroth itself, but just what is the function of the guardian, and how does that link to this thread of mystery school work we started following in the beginning of this article? As you hopefully remember, we started following a thread that begins at the Temple of Senna. Well, we didn't do that because I skipped all of that. So let me just put this on hold a minute. I believe you can follow this without having read that previously, so I'm just going to go ahead with it. As you hopefully remember, we started following a thread that began in the Temple of Senna, where the Orstele Imagrafa was located. This is actually something that that Simeon received about this Orstele Imagrafa. And when you read it in the article, you'll know that. I believe he states that in his part of the writing here. This was the work of the Brotherhood of Light that were embodied on the earth at that time. The work consists of opening and maintaining pathways between the Earth's crystalline grid, the genetic information of the Earth, the Mazzaroth, or interfacing stations of light between our reality and the higher worlds, and ultimately the Mazzaroth, which is the realm of the more complex star realms of consciousness. Many of the higher level initiations practiced over time work directly with this same hierarchical principle. It is thus that the time before the fall, the time between the fall and the ascension, and the future of our time after the ascension, which Thoth calls the New Earth Star, may all be interconnected through our current experience, the closing of the grand cosmic circle, or more appropriately, the closing of one more turn on the cosmic spiral. So we can see that this higher level cosmic alignment work, in conjunction with the initiations into the deeper aspects of the consciousness, which this type of work makes more readily accessible, allows an individual to work themselves into a position of synchronization with the higher force fields of intelligent love and light, and as planetary service for all of humanity to embody that Christic consciousness to the highest degree possible. Well, okay, we have concluded with part 2 of the mystery of Mazzaroth, this one on the defining of the Mazzaroth. And so stay tuned for part 3. And remember, you can read all of this and more in the mystery of the Mazzaroth 1997, for 1997 of Temple Doors, which you can obtain from my Spirit store, or you can get it, portal members can get it free from the Vault of Thoth in the portal. And those of you who actually, this video is for portal members, I think. I may be putting it out as a series for people to buy, but generally I don't know that I'll do that. But so portal members, you can get the issue inside the portal. All right, that said in a rather convoluted way, I bid you all farewell until next time. Aloha.